What is it that you want to do? Most of you aren't going to know the answer to that.
The thing with excuses is sometimes they're very true, but it doesn't serve you. It doesn't serve your goal. So are you going to let it sit with you, or are you going to find a way around it?
You better be compelled to your core by the reason. You can become anything you want to become, but you're going to have to pay a heavy price to get there. You can be leading yourself down a destructive path. You need to pattern interrupt that. You've got to be thinking, what's going to progress me towards my goal? So being concerned about my intellect is useful to a point, right? It makes me take things more seriously. It makes me go, hey, I'm not Elon Musk smart, so I'm gonna have to work harder, work differently, surround myself with intelligent people. So it makes me do those things, but the second it becomes corrosive, and now I'm diminishing myself, that's where you have to pattern interrupt.
There's no surprise. We've established what we're going to do in order to go for that goal. And in that comes the sacrifices. What are you willing to sacrifice? What are the things that you're okay with putting aside for now?
Don't prematurely optimize. Go experiment. Go try things. Go play around. Go enjoy yourself. Figure out what it is that you like. Nothing is ever going to be self-evident. When you find something that when you do it, you're like, ooh, this is fun, and you're actually energized by it, then you're going to go down the path of actually gaining skills in that. The more you engage with that, if that continues to be more fun, now it will become a fascination. Once something becomes a fascination, now we're going to really figure out if we can serve other people with that set of skills. If you can, you've got a hope of turning that into a passion. Passion is about acquiring enough skills at something that other people care about, and you have to care about it first and foremost. But if you care about it and other people care about it, now you get into that reciprocal relationship where, and it could be playing the guitar, it could be playing video games, right? Think about somebody that's just an absolute god-tier gamer, and other people will show up at a stadium to watch them play. They'll sit on Twitch for hours watching them play. So you're doing something that brings joy to other people. But they had to get freakishly good at that. They had to spend a lot of time improving their skill set. So they worked hard to gain a set of skills that allows them to serve not only themselves but other people. That is the name of the game. The problem is people are expecting something to be self-evident. They are told a lie that they're born with a purpose. You're not born with a purpose. You're going to decide that this passion, this thing that you've worked your ass off to get good at, that allows you to serve not only yourself but other people, that's now your purpose. So when I was at Quest, my purpose was making sure that people had food that they could choose based on taste, and it happened to be good for them. At Impact Theory, the goal is to give people a growth mindset at scale through stories. So I'm just doing entertaining things, but it's designed to help them get that right mindset. That is my purpose. That wasn't my purpose when I was 12 or 20 or even 30.
The key to me being driven is identifying what my passion is and my mission is. When we started Impact Theory, it really was to make change. So Quest was the answer to helping people in our lives who were struggling with weight, and Impact Theory was the answer to people in our lives who were struggling with a poor mindset. And someone like my mum, Quest was already $1 billion company, and my mum was still morbidly obese. And I was trying, because I care about her so much, I just want her to live for a long time. I don't care about, what she looks like. Just like, Mum, I want you to eat healthy so you can be around for a long time. And I tried to, give her free Quest bars. I offered to pay for trainers for her. And every time I would say, Mum, what can I do? How can I help? She just said, I'm too old. I can't lose the weight. I'm too old. And over time, we realized the power of the mind. And then over time, as we started to talk about mindset and building a studio, because that was our background, we really started to realize that to create actual impact, you need to go after the younger kids, because the age of imprint is between 11 and 15. That's the period where they're most susceptible to the messaging. And so if we really want to do no BS, what is it actually going to take to make global change on people's mindset? You've got to get them young. So we basically sat down and said, what does that look like? What type of studio do we build? And then for me, my personal thing has just been leaning more and more into young girls. It's I could wake up every single freaking day and fight for that 14-year-old girl that was me, that didn't believe in herself, that felt ugly, that was teased, that was made fun of for my looks. I will fight for that 14-year-old girl so that if I can touch her then and let her know and have her help her to believe she can become anything she wants if she sets her mind to it and works hard, then I feel like my job is done.
You're going to decide, and then you're going to do things to reinforce that in your own mind. It was a very dark period of my life, and there really is, it's the one thing in my life that's just a line in the sand, and there's before and after that moment. Realizing what I now call the only belief that matters, what Carol Dweck calls the growth mindset, which is that if I put time and energy into getting better at something, I will actually get better at that thing. And so just realizing, whoa, I could put time and energy into this thing and I will actually improve over time. And so that perspective shift will change everything in your life, because now it's about skill acquisition. But the important thing there, the real breakthrough moment, was realizing that what I built my self-esteem around mattered. And so I had been building my self-esteem around being right, being smart, being worthy. That was holding me back. You have this thing called the psychological immune system. And the psychological immune system is going to give you reasons why that failure is not your fault. And the bad thing is that it focuses you outward, right? Like, oh, it's their fault, they did this, they're holding me back, the world doesn't want me to succeed, whatever. The good thing is it actually stops you from beating yourself up too much. And so if you can learn that, oh, wait a second, I need to value myself for something, but that something does not need to be being right. And so instead, if I switch it to, I'm going to build my self-esteem around identifying the right answer, now all of a sudden you actually can have a growth mindset. You can be focused on getting better and improving and just learning, because when you realize that you've made a mistake, it's actually exhilarating, because you're like, whoa, I can run the physics of progress, I can get better at this thing and make this incremental improvement. And so that was life-changing for me. And so, of course, it wasn't like, oh, line in the sand, my life was bad, now my life is good, but it was line in the sand, I'm not making progress, now I'm making progress. And so that day really did, and I remember the whole debate that I had with myself. That day was like, oh, this is like the first day of the rest of my life. I'm no longer going to value myself for being good, smart, right, worthy. I'm going to value myself entirely for being willing to stare nakedly at my inadequacies, figuring out what I need to get good at, no bullshit, what would it take to achieve my goals, and then I'm just going to do that. And I'm going to do it knowing that success cannot be guaranteed. So I have to find a way to love this even if I were failing. And that becomes the magic cocktail. It doesn't mean that you ever stop wanting to win. Like, I'm still very much motivated to win, but I'm not devastated when I lose, and I'm optimizing for the struggle. So in the struggle, when I'm not sure if I'm going to win or lose yet, I'm still having fun. Most successful people in the world are the people that can self-soothe. So can you avoid being triggered? If you're being triggered and you look outward and you're angry at the person that triggered you, that's weakness. You are manifesting weakness, and you have to go, ooh, someone has triggered me. That means I have an insecurity around this thing. I need to address my insecurity, and then that's going to put you in a far more powerful position to move forward. So the people that are successful, they can self-soothe, they can stay emotionally calm in the midst of a storm. When everybody else is panicking, they're only looking at solutions. And that's the other thing about the no bullshit, what would it take game. The whole point is to switch you out of problem mode into solution mode. Most people can only see, these are the 152 ways that this could go wrong. And we started doing that to say, no matter how outrageous, there is a way to pull this off. So what would need to be true for this to work? Stop telling me all the things that aren't going to work. Tell me the thing that is going to work. And once you get to that, you go, okay, well, if we did X, Y, Z, it would work. Okay, now, are we willing to do that, yes or no? And if we're not, is there another thing that we are willing to do? But at least now we're operating from a position of that would work, and successful people are about that. They are good decision makers. They are hyper resilient. They don't stop at failure. They don't get in their own way from an ego perspective. They're looking nakedly at their own inadequacies. And they've got enough confidence to get people going behind them. It is this weird thing of, dude, I fear that I'm too dumb to do the things that I want to do in my life. I never know if I'm right, and I go all out every time. And I'm just trying to make it happen. And so I have the courage of conviction to say, I know about myself. I will keep going until I figure this out. Not that I already understand everything, that I have the courage to figure this out. and then I will go through and I will weather that storm. People are intoxicated by that certainty, where I'm like, hey, get behind me. I will get us through this. I'm not telling you I already understand everything, but I am telling you I will not stop fighting until we get to the other side. Dude, the way that people will pile in behind you when you do that, I have the chills now because I know how people respond to that. So if you can manage your emotions, if you've got the courage to fight through that storm, if you're not easy to knock off your pedestal and you're humble enough to know that you're almost certainly making mistakes so that you know when to correct course, that's the recipe.